Hello, hello, hello. This is Dave Jose, and it is June 13th. It is the first day of the week, what many of you call Sunday morning. And I come before you humbly, thanking God for this opportunity to talk to the people. Now, many of you have hearts that may have fear. Many of you are looking at the Department of Justice, talking about what they're going to do, or the man who is here. I don't even remember his name. It's not important to me. And the reason is because the people have all power. For too long, men have come in and taken over nations, force people to do things against their rights. And there has not been a man to come and understand the law of God and understand the law when it comes to the Constitution to be able to give the people an answer. Now, I'm not trying to down talk anybody, but we're at a serious time where we need the people to know 100% for sure where their power stands. One of the problems is that many people are regurgitating what they've heard.
Good morning, everybody. I wanted to make this quick video. David Jose and I are going to come together and we're going to begin to kind of set the record straight with the precise truth on how to deal with this DOJ hoax here in Maricopa County. What they want to do is they're trying to come in and strong arm and intimidate the Arizona Senate, the American people. Now, I've seen our senators, Borelli, Senators Roger, and a few others that have really spoken up and said, this is not going to happen. You're not going to intimidate us. We're not backing down. We're not going to give up an inch, which is great to hear. But again, guys, all political power is inherent in the people. It is up to us to fight for our people. It's up to us to fight for our senators that are standing up to this blatant corruption that's coming in here to try to interfere with the people's business, our elections, our audit. They're trying to interfere with our forensic audit, and that is the people's business. They have zero jurisdiction to come in and do anything. We are going to break it down. We're going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to have a notice for the people to send in to fight back and let them know we're not going to put up with it. Thank you guys, and God bless.
We got attorneys who just regurgitate what someone else told them. We got people who believe that you can just interpret the Constitution to mean things that are outside of it. In the same way, there were people in the Bible who thought that they could interpret God's word. When God gave a commandment, they felt that if they had their own reasons, they could do something else. And what we see in America today is many people who were trained as attorneys being taught that the Constitution is a document that you can just go through and pick and find what you want to find and put it out there with some type of scheme or idea to expand past what it is that is there. The problem is when you do that, you open the door for wrong to come in. God let us see in the scripture what was necessary to keep his commandments. In the Constitution, we have a document that outlines the duties and obligations of government workers. And in outlining the duties and obligations of the government workers, we grant certain authorities. The thing that most people don't understand is that this is a trust indenture. It is a document that grants authorities, tell the duties of the trustees, and it tells the rights of the beneficiaries. those who will benefit from it. When we look at what's happening in our nation today, we have many people who are just making claims. They're regurgitating the claims of other people. And when this happens, they're not studying for themselves and they leave the people high and dry. Now, what I'm going to tell you today is you are going to be made free as a nation because you are going to see the truth. You are clearly going to understand your power. And the other thing is going to happen is the government officials who are out there just doing whatever they want to do, you are going to get a clear picture of what their duties and obligations are and what powers are not granted to them. See, guys, there are rule-making bodies or bodies who believe that they can come in and take power that does not belong to them. Guys, understand that the United States government is an entity that had powers granted, which means that somebody is bigger and badder than they are. Somebody is more powerful than they are. Somebody had to create them. Somebody had to create their offices and seats. Somebody had to elect the officials in. Somebody had to create regulation and rules and confines and restraints on them. They had to frame the power and then let them know how far they can go. The Constitution is a limiting document as well as a document granting certain powers. The Constitution does not grant all powers to the United States government. So when people are having arguments about the legislatures in the states and they say stuff like, the legislature in the state has the power to choose the times and places of elections. See, people just keep spurting that out of their mouth, just regurgitating, letting it go everywhere, right? And then they try to say, so that's why we can do an audit, and that's why we have the power to tell how the audit is going to go. Guys, that is a bunch of hogwash. It is foolishness. It is people regurgitating foolishness. And when we do that and we don't understand for ourselves, we put the people in danger. Because every time we play this game where we try to interpret what the Constitution says rather than just reading it for what it is, what ends up happening is we put ourselves in a position where some silly attorney who doesn't want to do right anyway is going to pick our words apart and say, oh, no, you can't say that because it had nothing to do with audit. Show us where you got the power to tell the people in the federal that they don't have the power, right? Don't have the power to tell what happens with audits. I didn't see anything about an audit in that text. So because you're speaking of the Constitution and the powers backward and who it applies to, you're limiting the people and making us look foolish with arguments that have nothing to do with what is right, what is pure, and what is correct. Our forefathers trusted in the God of heaven. Our forefathers mentioned him in the preamble. Our common law came from the Bible. The principles are the same. And if you try to cheat for your way without showing people the truth, and by just mentioning and saying that something means something that it did not say, then you're destroying the power of the people and you're not respecting the document that our forefathers put together and some of them died for. This is not the time for little boys and girls to play and to imagine what they want to do. This is the time for strong men and women who trust in God, who trust in what is written, to stand up, read, and use the power of the law that God gave us and our forefathers created based off of the word of God. And you'll see today when we do that, when we go through and do it the right way, you will be 100% sure things will be made clear, as Josh Barnett and I have told you guys since November of last year. We are going to do affidavits and stand on the real law, and it's going to quake the nation. Is the nation not quaking? Are the people not revived with power that they never knew they had? Is the word not sweeping across the nation? Can you not feel the fire burning? I'll tell you what. The Department of Justice feels the fire burning. So much that they come down to Arizona and want to interfere because they know what we're doing. Perkins Coie feels the fire burning. Or they would not send over 70 attorneys to come interfere with what little old people do in Arizona. God is showing you the power of his might. God is showing you that these powerful people are going to realize in the nations that they are but men. You can see that in Psalms chapter 9. I'll show it to you. Guys, we don't have to fear. We don't have to fear. We don't have to guess. But we can stand on truth. And that's what we're about to do today. When you leave here, you're going to know the truth. You're going to stand on it. Josh Barnett and I are going to put together a notice today if the Lord lets us live. That notice is going to put the Department of Justice in their place. And we're not going to just have you do a notice, guys, where you're just guessing. We're going to show you right now how you stand. We're going to show you where your power is and where they lack power. We're going to show you how this thing called the Constitution is really put together and the fire behind it. And today, everyone will know how it is that we need to stand. Today, we'll get rid of these foolish attorney arguments that are limited based on the bar associations not showing the attorneys the truth, changing the way they learn. We got some tough, constitutional, loving attorneys out there like Matt DePerno, causing ruckus across the country from what he's done in Michigan with Bill Bailey. And guys, we're going to stand today and we're going to open the doors for powerful men and women like that, like Candace Taylor, like Ryan and Heather over in Virginia, like V over in Virginia. We're going to open the doors, guys, for y'all to light fire like you never have before. And every man and woman who is following, looking for what it is that they can do, today you will know the truth. And the truth shall make you free. Let's delve in. So guys, the first thing I want to do is look at the preamble of the United States Constitution so we know who created this. Pay attention. We the people of the United States. Guys, realize that this does not say we the government of the United States. The government did not create the Constitution. They gave nobody powers. They granted nothing. In order to form a more perfect union, there was already a union of states together. They just wanted to make it better. Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America. Now, guys, notice that the people of the states united who came together, the same ones, who had to ratify the Constitution, came together to create a group that would be even stronger and united, who could defend themselves better, who could take care of their general welfare better, who could ensure that nobody had an uprising in the states together. They are the ones who ordained and established the Constitution for the United States of America. Nobody else did it. The government didn't create itself. So the powers they have are only what is granted in this document, nothing else. So the first thing we need to do is see what in the world they have granted as powers and where it came from. Okay, guys, so we're going to go a little bit deeper and we're going to look at some very important things. Now, I asked you guys, or I said earlier, we want to look at where these powers come from in the Constitution. We want to understand where, for instance, like the Department of Justice gets their authority or power. We do have the Constitution, and we can see where the people created the office of the president, where they opened the doors for him to be able to do certain things for the people. And we need to understand what it is that led up to the way that things are today. So we're not going to guess. We're going to actually go look, and I'm going to show you proof so we can stand. So the first thing we're going to do is look up the Constitution for the executive branch and see what we find. Let's go. So guys, for the first part, what I want to do is I want to look up the United States Constitution. We're going to look at Cornell Law, Legal Information Institute, and we're going to scroll down and we're going to look at presidential power. We can clearly see here 1 and 2, right? Section 1 and 2 of Article 1 is going to be legislative power, House of Representatives, right? Section 3 is Senate. We see 4 is election. So let's just go through this so you guys can see what we're doing. 8 and 9, scope of legislative power and limits on legislative power. We got to realize that. Number 10, limits on states. Article 2, the presidency, right? So we go down to Article 3, we see the judiciary. We see Article 4, we see the states, right? So let's pay attention to what we're looking at because we're going to break this down so you guys can understand. So when we deal with the presidency, we're going to deal with what powers we have, right? Or what powers we have given to the president. Now, notice that this is the executive branch. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on section 1, right? Sorry, guys. Section 1, the executive power. This is what the people wrote, y'all. The people said the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years and together with the vice president chosen for the same term be elected as follows. So it tells how he's going to be elected, right? The Congress may determine the time and choosing of the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States, right? No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of the president. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 years, right? And been 14 years a resident within the United States. Now, the president shall, at stated times, receive for his services compensation. So you look, we're laying out what it is that's going to happen with this office of the president. We're going to go down to this part that says before. Before he enter on the execution of his duty, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. It is his duty. We put him in place to defend the Constitution. Pay close attention, guys. Section 2. The president shall be the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy. Guys, commander is the one who makes commands or orders the ones who are below him. The president shall be the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states. When called into the actual service of the United States, guys, did this just say the president shall be the one who orders the people around and makes executive orders for the people in the states? No. It said the president shall be the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states. Guys, do you see what's happening here? When did we give the president the authority to order the people around? We created his office and his seats. This is what the people are not telling you who are spouting off this stuff about the Constitution and what the Fed can do to the people. We never granted them that. Let's keep reading. He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments. So there's going to be executive departments created that are under him. Watch this. Upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices. And he shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons and for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. He shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. Did it say the Bar Association? Did it say with the advice and consent of the Bar Association? to make treaties, provided 2/3 of the senators present concur. And he shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States, whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, which shall be established by law. So guys, realize that he has power over the agencies, power over the militia, the army, and the navy of the United States, not the people. The president doesn't tell the people what to do. The president handles the business of the people by directing the agents, ordering the military. He has to stick with the Constitution and nothing else. Whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. But the Congress may by law vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the president alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of departments. So guys, we can see where offices and other entities can be created by the legislature. But guys, did that say that the legislature had power to rule over the people? No. Did it say that the president has power to rule over the people? No. Watch this. The president shall have power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. Section 3. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the state of the Union, and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may on extraordinary occasions convene both houses or either of them, and in the case of disagreement between them with respect to the time and adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. Guys, did that say that the president will have power over the people? Did that say that the president shall have power over the people of the states to tell them how to run their lives, what to do, when to be locked down, not to be locked down? Did that say that the president shall have power over the people or the military services that are provided to make our nation better, to make war quicker if we need it, to make it function better, a more perfect union? So guys, let's not get it twisted. We have been taught that the president and the federal has powers that they do not have. Section 4, the president, vice president, and civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Guys, what I want us to understand is, can anyone tell me where in this whole section we just read where it talked about the Department of Justice? Where did it talk about the DOJ? Where did it talk about the FBI? Where did it talk about the CIA? Did you guys read anything about that? The president has power over the agencies that will come up. The senators and the House, the Congress can create agencies and the such. When did we give them authority to make agencies that rule over the people? It doesn't exist. It does not exist. So guys, when we look here in the whole Article 2, the section that deals with the presidency and the executive branch, I saw nothing about the Department of Justice. So where is the Department of Justice and this Attorney General getting his power and trying to tell the people what to do? Did the people create that in the Constitution, or did someone else create that? Let's see. Okay, guys, so we're going to look deeper and we're going to look up this legislative branch, Article 1. So let's see what happened in here. Article 1, Section 1, all legislative powers herein granted. Let's pay very close attention to the words. We don't have to make anything up, guys. We don't have to try to finagle our way into showing what powers we have and what powers they have. Our forefathers granted the powers. Let's see if I'm telling you the truth. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, right? Which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. Guys, realize that our forefathers just created the entity that allows the Congress to exist. They just spoke it out of thin air. Like in the Bible, God speaks those things that were as if they were, that are not as if they were. They just created it out of their mouth. And the only thing they did, let's be specific, is create a trust indenture where they granted authority. The people can only grant authority that they have. Watch this. All legislative powers herein granted. You want to find out what the legislature got the power to do? It has to be a power herein granted. If you can't find it in the Constitution, if you can't find it herein, guess what, guys? It don't exist. It don't exist. It's that simple. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. Section 2. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people. Guys, who got the power to tell who's coming in? The people of the several states, and the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. No person shall be a representative, okay? So it's going to tell the qualifications, right? Now I need you guys to see this because we're going to break it down a little bit deeper in a second. Section 3, the Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, right? No person shall be a senator who shall not attain a certain age, right? The Senate shall choose their officers and also a president pro tempore in the absence of the vice president. Let's keep looking. This Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. Where are they getting this power, y'all? From us, from the people. We're dictating to them what they can do and what they cannot do. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Judgment in all cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to remove from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. They can't just prosecute you without the law. And the Senate can try all the cases. The Chief Justice will be involved. But guys, notice we the people are granting this, right? Section 4, let's look at this. The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. But the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations except as the places of choosing senators. So guys, realize we dictated policy. We told them what they could do in this section for senators and representatives. They didn't figure it out on their own. We created it in the Constitution and granted authority, right? Look at section 7. This is going to be important. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose to concur with amendments as on other bills. So guys, realize we are telling what their powers are. Now we're going to get deep because the legislature has created a lot of things, but the legislature does not have the power to create things that are higher than the Constitution. So I'm not going to just say that. I'm going to prove it with the law, with the text, with the trust indenture called the Constitution, because we are no longer going to let people just play with what is happening in our country. We are going to show it. We are going to deal with it head on directly. We're not sidestepping anything. We're going to go head to head and see who created and did what. So let's look. Article 1, Section 8. This is the powers that were given to the Congress. Now, guys, pay very close attention to what we granted them and pay close attention to what we did not grant them. Here it is. The Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excise to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States, but all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. Watch this. It's going to get deep. To borrow money on the credit of the United States. Did that say anything about having power over the people and telling the people what to do in the states? No. To regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. It said regulate commerce. The people are in a private capacity and not in commerce. Did it say they get to regulate the people? No. Next one, to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. Did that say rule over the people? Tell the people what to do when they perform audits? No. Next one, to coin money, regulate the value thereof and of foreign coin and fix the standard of weights and measures. Did that say control or regulate the people? No. Watch this. To provide for the punishment of counterfeiting and securities and current coin of the United States. Did that say they can rule over the people? No. Notice that the Constitution deals with what is herein granted. If it was not granted in the text, it ain't there. If it's not granted in the trust indenture, you don't have the power to do it. Let's keep going. To promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. Did that say control and have power over the people? No. Watch this. To constitute. So they're going to actually create out of their mouth tribunals. That means a type of system that is hearing cases. To constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. Now, here's the problem. We didn't give the Supreme Court the power to control the people. They can hear matters between people if somebody gets harmed. They can hear matters where there's an issue with the United States and one of the people, but they cannot make determinations to punish the people as the Supreme Court or rule over the people. Notice it says to constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. So the legislature has the power to make a FISA court that's inferior to the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court isn't ruling over people, why would the FISA court, private court, secret court, have power over the people? If the Supreme Court doesn't have power over the people, why would the federal court, which is nowhere in the Constitution, have power over the people? Oh, we're getting deep now. Next one. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas. America is not the high seas. And offenses against the law of nations. To declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. That's not talking about the people. That's to protect the people. Watch this. To raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years. Did that say control the people? No. To provide and maintain a navy. Oh, you got power over the navy. Oh, okay. Is that the people? No. To make rules for the people? No, it did not say that. To make rules for what? See, this is the power granted herein. To make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces. Now, excuse me, guys, we had some audio ticking. Please don't let that make you lose focus. We're going to redo the audio, and so I'm going to speak over what the video is. Now, guys, notice it says they can make rules for the government and the regulation of the land and naval forces. That has nothing to do with power over the people. That has nothing to do with controlling the people. And so where is it that these people are telling us they have power to come tell the people in Arizona or any other state what they're going to do with an audit? The federal government has been out of control and been leading people along with the bar attorneys to believe that they are the big daddy and they could come in and tell everybody what to do. But guys, the problem is they were never granted that authority. It never happened, right? So if we look forward, we can see where there is another section. To provide for the calling forth of the militia, to execute the laws of the union. Did it say to provide for the calling forth of the people? No, it said the militia, who we gave them control over in the Constitution. We can see it in the preamble. To execute the laws of the union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. That has nothing to do with power over the people's audits. We never gave them that. Let's look at more. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining, right? Disciplining the militia, not the people, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. Guys, notice, once again, we never gave them the power to arm and discipline the people, just the militia, the military services. Let's look at the next one. To exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever. In America? No, not in the 50 states. Over such district not exceeding 10 square miles. They don't have the power to tell us what to do. They have the power to deal with the people who are over the 10 square miles. As may, by cession of particular states, the states can sell the property, give the property to them, and by the acceptance of Congress become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by consent of the legislature of the state, in which the same shall be for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings. And, now guys, notice, they can have these buildings for military purposes, some other purpose, arsenals, dockyards, but it never said they had power over the states or the people of the states. This is for the purposes that we gave them power in the Constitution, to fight with the military, to deal with other issues, right? Military issues. They can have these buildings. But other than that, they have to stay within their 10 square mile box. What's the last one? To make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States, or in any department or officer thereof. Now, guys, notice we didn't see certain departments even named in the Constitution. So we know that they don't have a constitutional authority to tell the people what to do. So where in the world do they think they're getting granted authority? You can only grant what you have. If you don't have the authority, you can't grant it. Now let's look at Section 9. Sorry guys, we had a few technical difficulties again. We're going to make it through this. Please ignore the static. I tried to fix it. We're going to see if it works. I plugged some things in a little bit and cleared some wires. Hopefully that'll work. But Section 9, the migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit. Now this is the prohibition, guys. Shall not be prohibited by Congress prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation not exceeding $10 for each person. All right. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended. So the people are telling them they cannot suspend this writ. So who's creating the laws for who? Who has the power over who? The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless in cases of rebellion or invasion of the public safety, the public safety may require it. So guys, they cannot just get rid of the writ of habeas corpus. They don't have the power to do it. That doesn't mean that the Congress has not tried. The government has not tried in the past. What else can they not do? No bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. That means they can't make laws, guys, that go after specific groups of persons easy to classify and attack. Ex post facto laws are laws made after the fact. No capitation or other direct tax shall be laid unless in proportion to the census or enumeration herein before directed to be taken. No tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state, right? No preference shall be given by any regulation of commerce or revenue to ports of one state over those of another state. So they're trying to make things fair within the states. Nor shall vessels bound to or from one state be obliged to enter, clear, or pay duties in another. No money shall be drawn from the treasury but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. That's a deep one. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office for profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any present, emolument, office, or title, or any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state. Okay, guys, so we're getting a little bit of a static sound. Please forgive me. I think I have a short in one of the wires. We're going to have to get that fixed and take care of it, but as of right now, it's only so much that I can do. So we will deal with it when we can. So let's go into section 10. No state shall enter any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. So guys, realize the states have no power to create any laws that will impair the obligation of contracts. So guys, can the state create a constitution for the federal? Can the people come together and create a contract that will interfere with the obligation of contract? They cannot do it. You cannot interfere with the obligation of contract. So when the people have a contract with the legislature of the states, can the legislature give power to the federal in order to get rid of the power of the people to instruct or order their legislature? And didn't the United States accept every single constitution of every state? So then is it possible that they could be actually removing the power that the people have to instruct their legislature and lead them? It is not. Let's keep going. Or grant any title of nobility. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any imposts or duties on imports or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspection laws, and the net produce of all duties and imposts laid by any state on imports or exports shall be for the use of the Treasury of the United States. And all such laws shall be subject to the revision and control of the Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty on tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in times of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with any other state or with a foreign power, or engage in war unless actually invaded or in imminent danger, as will not admit of delay. Okay, guys, so we see the powers that were given in the Constitution. We see the prohibitions to the legislature. We see the prohibition to the states. Now here we see in section 1, guys, we have to look at this the right way because a lot of people will tell you a lot of things. But let's just see what our forefathers did and how they did it. So we see here that they granted certain authority. It says, all legislative powers herein granted shall be invested in the Congress. It did not say that they can get anything from anywhere else or expand beyond what is granted. Well, guess what? We just read everything that was granted. So where did it tell that they had the power to control the people if they want to audit? Where did it tell that they had power over the people of the states? Were they put in place and their offices created to run our lives? Doesn't look like it. Were they granted the power to deal with audits of any election? Were they given that authority? No, they were not. And so, guys, we got to understand, we don't need to make arguments about what's not there, because that's what attorneys will do. Attorneys will try to interpret as if they have some ability to do things outside of what we have given to the government officials. Nobody has that power. We hold the power as the people. Now, guys, God gave us a warning in the Bible. Luke 11:52, woe unto you lawyers, for ye have taken away the key of knowledge. Ye enter not in yourselves, and them that were entering in ye hindered. Guys, we keep getting cases kicked out by bar attorneys and judges who are bar attorneys. They are blocking people from using the actual knowledge that shows their power, and in many cases going after those who try to stand for the people. So even the bar attorneys who try to stand for the people are being punished and their licenses are being attacked. So guys, we got to understand something basic that God showed us about those who have the power to give commandments, including himself. Guys, in the Constitution, we could see where we created a commander-in-chief called the president, but we gave him authority, as well as the legislature, on what they can do. We granted authority to them, which are commandments of what they have the power to do and not do. Watch what God says about a commander. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Guys, the Bible was created based on the Constitution was created based on the Bible. That's where the common law comes from. And when somebody gives you orders as your higher up, it is your duty to follow and stay within the confines of what is written. You are not to interpret it and make it your own. Let me give you further proof. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 20 and 21. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nobody just came willy-nilly and started speaking to the point that they came with some private interpretation that somebody now has to go and figure out exactly what they meant, like it's not there. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost. See, what this means is the God of the creation of the text actually got men to speak based on what he wanted. And so the creators of the Constitution spoke based on what they wanted. And we don't have some men who were just putting it together willy-nilly, but they meant what they wrote. And so the idea that we can't just as people come together and read what is written is crazy. It is outrageous. We have the ability to read the simple words of the Constitution and know what authority what was granted and what was not. And when we look, we see nothing about the Department of Justice. We see nothing about us granting them authority to be over our audits and being able to block what it is that the people demand. The people have demanded audits, and we have never given authority over the people to the federal or to the state. The people have the right to know what's going on in their elections. The people have the right to know what's going on in the midst of their servants. And there is no government official who has the power to remove our right to know, to see what's happening in our business, to correct anything that's wrong, even to the point that we have the power to reform them, abolish them at will. We can reform our constitutions and abolish government at will and establish anew. So we don't have to play this game. But let's go further. Okay, guys, now we're going to get serious. This is from justice.gov. Our mission statement: to enforce the law and defend the interests of the United States according to the law, to ensure public safety against threats, foreign and domestic, to provide federal leadership in preventing and controlling crime, to seek just punishment for those guilty of unlawful behavior, and to ensure fair and impartial administration of justice for all Americans. Oh, you're going to have to be careful about the department. Watch this. Where did they get this power to come interfere with our elections? Let's see. The office of the Attorney General was created by who? Was it created by the people? By the Judiciary Act of 1789. Chapter 20, Section 35, 1 Statute at Large, 73, 92 through 93. As a one-person part-time position. Okay, watch this, guys. The Office of the Attorney General was created by the Judiciary Act of 1789 as a one-person part-time position. The act specified that the Attorney General was to be learned in the law. What law? Should it be the law of the land, the Constitution, that would show him that he has no power over the people? Or should it be the law of the states where he would know that he has no power over the people? What is he supposed to be learned in? Because I just showed you guys the law, and it says that there was nowhere granted in the Constitution power over the people, power over audits. The government was not put in place for that. With the duty to prosecute and conduct all suits in the Supreme Court in which the United States shall be concerned, and to give his advice and opinion upon questions of law when required by the President of the United States or when requested by the heads of any of the departments, touching any matter that may concern their departments. So guys, he's here to work for the departments and to give his advice to the government. But let's notice, the legislature is the one who created this guy's position in the Judiciary Act of 1789. The problem is that we didn't give the legislature the power to rule over the people. We didn't give the legislature the power to check over the affairs of the government. The people have the power to check over the affairs of the government, to do audits. So how could the legislature, who doesn't have the power, give the power to the Attorney General or the Department of Justice or any of these people? How could they have the power? How could they have the power to do these things if nobody gave it to him? We didn't give it to the legislature. So how does this guy have it? Let's keep reading. However, the workload became too much for one person, necessitating the hire of several assistants for the Attorney General, for the people or for the Attorney General. As the work steadily increased along with the size of the new nation, private attorneys, they want to talk about private people spending money in the election in Arizona, but private attorneys were retained to work on cases. By 1870, after the end of the Civil War, the increase in the amount of litigation involving the United States had required the very expensive retention of a large number of private attorneys to handle the workload. A concerned Congress passed the act to establish the Department of Justice. Holy crap, where did the Department of Justice come from? Holy moly, the Congress made it. Well, Congress can make things lesser than the Supreme Court. Congress can make departments, but can Congress make a department that has powers granted to it that they don't have? So show me where the Congress got the power to interfere with the people's audits. Show me where the Congress has the power to interfere with the people correcting their government, their officers. Show me where the Congress had the power to interfere with the obligation of our legislative contracts in the Constitution. The people created our legislature. We told them what they could and could not do. We told them we have the right to correct them. We have the right to consult with each other, to assemble, to come together and instruct them, and then to get redress of grievances. Did we ever take that power away from the people and give it to some group called the Department of Justice or the legislature or the courts? Never. All right, y'all, a concerned Congress, let's look again, passed the act to establish the Department of Justice. When? They did it in Chapter 150, 16 Stat 162, creating an executive department of the government of the United States with the Attorney General as its head. Now, they didn't have the power to rule over us, so they can't create an office that has somebody who can rule over us, and they can't create some silly department that has jurisdiction over the people because they don't have it. Let's keep reading. Officially coming into existence on July 1st, 1870. Guys, that's nowhere near the time of the United States Constitution when we created all this stuff. So that's Johnny come lately. The Department of Justice was empowered to handle all criminal prosecutions and civil suits in which the United States had interests. To assist the Attorney General, the 1870 Act also created the Office of Solicitor General, who represents the interests of the United States before the U.S. Supreme Court. Guys, how did they get the power to start prosecuting all the people in America for stuff that they want to say the people cannot do when they had no jurisdiction over the people? Remember, the legislature made rules for the government. The president had control of the armed forces and the militia. When did it say they have power and control over the people to run the lives of the people and to regulate the people's behavior? I seen it clearly say herein to regulate the actions of the government. I see where it clearly said regulate the militia. I think the people who wrote the Constitution were very clear in their speech. So you're telling me the legislature, who doesn't have the power to rule over the people or rule over the states, are going to come in and say they got the power to interfere with the audit and they need to make sure nothing is wrong. Well, first of all, we didn't give you the authority to make sure that the people can't handle their business correctly. We didn't give you that power. We gave you jurisdiction over government, right? We didn't give you jurisdiction to say anything about audits. We, the people, have the power to do audits. Now, some people might say, but Dave, I don't agree. Well, let's look and see. Okay, guys, we're going to check out some of the rights of the people so we understand what powers we have. Because what ends up happening is the government officials start saying things are their powers that are not, and we got to make sure they're not grabbing. So remember that I said the Constitution is a trust indenture. Those powers granted or delegated in the Constitution is what they have. And if it's not there, they don't have it. Watch this. The powers not delegated to the United States. So we don't see the power of audits and the power of correcting the government officials in the state, right, as part of the duties that were given to the federal. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or the people. So guys, the people have certain rights that the United States is not allowed to interfere with. Now guys, I know that they would like to come in and interfere with everything and say that they have the power to do whatever it is that they want to do. Watch this. Amendment 9. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. You know what that means? Just because you only see a few things in the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution does not mean that the people don't have more. So they can't say the people don't have a right to do their own audits. They cannot say that the people don't have the right to instruct their legislature. They don't have the right to tell us what we have the power to do. Let's look at another thing. Guarantees to the state. The federal is not allowed to be some democracy that just comes in and tells the people in every state what to do and write laws for everybody. We have a state where the interests of the people function and their rights are preserved no matter who votes. So let's see. Section 4. Watch this. This is Article 4, Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion, and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened, against domestic violence. Guys, if there's an uprising in the states against the people, the legislature or the executive is to call on the federal to guarantee that a republican form of government stays. In a republican form of government, the government workers are not allowed to vote away the rights of the people. The people have a right, as we see in Michigan, to cause a statewide audit with just one man. We also see that in Arizona, after the elections are done, the people have a right to know that the person with the most legal votes shall be considered elected. So guys, the federal never got the duty or the power granted to them to tell us that we cannot have an audit or that they can control the audit. I think what they probably should be doing is looking at laptops of Hunter Biden, figuring out how to get the FBI a freaking charter because they don't have one, and they're running around kicking people's doors down who want an audit for the people. See, they are attacking, as the bar attorneys, any person, any man or woman, any attorney who decides to stand up for the people, they're attacking. Where did they get the authority to attack people who stand up for the rights of the people? We have a right in the states to check on our elections and make sure the integrity is there. We have a right to do a statewide audit with one man or one woman. We have a right as the people to stand and do what's necessary in order to protect our states, to protect our laws, to protect our people, to protect our country. Guys, these people have been very slick. These people have been very slick. I'm going to show you one more thing. The United States government guaranteed that they will do this. They will give full faith and credit, right? Full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial findings of every other state. And the Congress may, by general laws, prescribe the manner in which such acts, records, and proceedings shall be proved, and the effect thereof. But guys, understand that we have constitutions in every state. And the federal already agreed to those constitutions. They cannot bypass the obligation of the contracts. They cannot say that we're going to ignore the public acts, the records, and the judicial proceedings. And so we already know, like we see in the case Miranda versus Arizona, where rights secured in the Constitution are involved, there shall be no rulemaking agencies, executive branch, or legislation, legislative bodies anywhere in America and the federal, which would abrogate them. Y'all don't have the power to make any statute anywhere that will go against the people's rights. So stop acting like there's some guy called the Attorney General who's in the Department of Justice who has a right to come into Arizona and tell anybody anything about an audit. He needs to go sit down somewhere. And any of you federal officials who are working for the people, which you've been working a lot for yourself, please go do things like look at Hunter Biden's laptop. Please tell us, because we saw Jim Jordan asking the FBI why they're lying, why they're making fake 302s, why they won't investigate certain things, and why they're ignoring the law. We saw Jim Jordan question these things. My question is, why is there an entity that has never had, they never, ever, ever had the ability to function based on a charter from the federal Congress? They don't have a charter to function, but they're kicking people's doors down, harassing people, telling people, creating situations where people are attacking people and saving the day by arresting people after they get people riled up over certain things. When are you going to hold your own guys accountable? When are you going to make sure they have a charter? And why aren't you prosecuting them for their unlawful acts since they don't have a charter to act on this land? Before you come into Arizona telling people what they're going to do, maybe you should deal with the people in your own group of peers who are breaking the laws every day. Jim Jordan made it obvious. Now we need to stop playing this game where we just get on TV and talk about the acts that the FBI and the Department of Justice are failing to do and the acts that they are doing that are wrong. What about we correct it and come against them with the rule of law like you would do any American, which in many cases you don't even have jurisdiction over? We just looked at the law. We just went through the text. This is what the law really says. Please stay out the people's business. So in conclusion, guys, we realized that the federal government did not get any authority granted to them in the trust indenture called the Constitution other than what is in the document. It said granted herein. If you don't see it in there, they don't have it. So some group or some department or some office that they make, that they call the Department of Justice or Attorney General, had no authority to do what we didn't give the Congress authority to do. When you look in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, it said nothing about audits. It said nothing about controlling the people's ability to correct their government officials. It said nothing about limiting the people's ability to check on what happened in any election. As we see, the people have a right in Michigan Constitution, where it clearly says the people have a right to any one man or woman can do a statewide audit. That is a right of the people because we created the government, right? We see in Arizona that the person with the most legal votes shall be considered the one elected. We don't need the permission of the state government or the federal government to go ahead and step forward and check on what our servants are doing. Now, somewhere, somehow, the federal believed that they had some power or right or ability or obligation to be able to step in as a department that was created by the servants of the people to come rule over the people. I think your name is Garland. I think you are in the wrong lane, right? You're actually driving on the wrong street, right? You're way out of place. The people have all power, not you guys. You guys were created to protect the people. So Josh Barnett and I decided that we are going to come together as the people and create a notice for the people nationwide. Guys, don't get mixed up. There's a few people who are trying to use the work we have and hide everybody from us so that it looks like they did it. The problem is that they don't know the next steps. So there's thousands of us who have studied and trained and know how to do these things who are coming together and making waves. There's some brilliant constitutional attorneys who are fighting, some brilliant people who are fighting, but you really don't want to get in a situation where you're rolling with a group of people who don't know how to stand and fight. So guys, we are moving forward with a notice against the Department of Justice, and we're going to let them know that we know that they don't have jurisdiction over this, and we're going to demand that he respond with an affidavit showing where he got these authorities. And if he can't, then there's going to be an issue, because if you don't have the authority to do stuff and you're acting outside of the grants of authority given in the Constitution, you're stealing power that doesn't belong to you. So guys, if you're ready to stand, you're ready to kick butt, Josh Barnett and I got together. We're putting together a notice. It's going to be on restoremyrepublic.com. We're going to get it out to you. If you want to move forward, you want to kick butt, you want to take this thing to the next level, please get with us. We're going to stand. We are going to show the people their power, as always, using the law, not interpreting something in some way that, is wrong because it doesn't say what you say. We are showing exactly what is written every time, all the time. Let's move. This is our nation to take back. God is doing a mighty thing. He is showing the people in government but that they are but men, right? So let's stand, do the work, and finish it off. I love you guys. You are blessed. Continue to fight. Continue to move forward. Thank you. In Jesus' name. Oh, I got to pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you thanking you for this day. We come thanking you for this lesson. We come thanking you for the amazing people who trust and love you. We come thanking you, Father, for the people who have a will to find the law, a will to study. And we're just asking you, Father, to be with us in our work, to touch every soul under the sound of my voice. And Father, help us to have this massive victory and give you the glory. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.